All right, Renee. It's a Phillies off day, so it's a good time for us to go down on the farm.
Down on the farm, we are
And we
down
figured
on
a
the
good
farm.
place to start today would be the two new additions to the minor league system that they got somehow in a Gregory Soto trade. And Gregory Soto made us all very, very nervous. And they were able to get rid of him and get some players from the Baltimore Orioles system. So let's start with Seth Johnson. Seth Johnson was a top 10 prospect in the Orioles system. He is 25 years old. He is a little bit on the older side for a prospect. He's probably that quad A-ish type pretty soon. If somebody goes down, maybe we could see him this year when the roster gets expanded. Maybe there's a possibility of some low leverage innings for him. 6'1", 205 pounds. He is reporting to Reading and having a pretty nice year. So we'll go over his year stats and then his last 4 starts with Bowie before leaving there. He's 0-6 on the year, but as we've gone over, win-loss records are not a pitcher's stat. He has a 2.63 ERA on the year in 18 games started. He's pitched 65 innings with 61 strikeouts. His whip on the year is 1.32. Tyler puts his K to walk ratio at 1.74. His grades there down the bottom. His fastball is a 60 on the scouting scale, which is above average, 55 on his slider, which is slightly above average, and a 50 on the control. So, you get Gregory. So you gave up Gregory Soto. You bring in a guy who could contribute to the big league club soon. Has some stuff. Was graded out pretty well and having a decent year for the Bowie. What was their name, Tyler? The Bowie
Bay Sox.
Bay Sox. That's what I thought, but it didn't sound right in my head.
Bowie.
Bowie. Mm-hmm. Stupid Maryland. Bowie, David Bowie, Manginas, who knows? All right. Yeah. Seth Johnson, it's one of those trades that's not sexy. You're not going to knock your socks off, but you got to replenish the loss of a Clausen or Aldegari, and he's in the system, and he's 25, and he should be, at worst, ready to compete for a spot next year, maybe able to help you this year.
Yeah, and for Johnson, he was originally selected by the Rays back in the first round of the 2019 draft. He was ranked as high as the number 8 prospect in the Orioles system, 8, 12, depending on what you were looking at. And for Johnson, Dave Dombrowski mentioned how he feels like Seth Johnson is a guy, he said he's coming off of surgery a couple years ago. He's bouncing back from Tommy John. He was a high pick, 40th pick in the country.
Before.
Yes, they like those types of underrated guys. A really high pedigree coming out of college, and he's got good stuff with his throwing in the mid-90s and a good, solid pitcher. And then for him to have the ability to come in, and we've talked about guys like even Aiden Miller, not even just on the pitching side, but we've talked about guys that the Phillies have been able to bring in that were under the radar, had an injury, maybe fell through the cracks a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so for Johnson, his innings have been monitored this season after he pitched just 10 1/3 innings a year ago, working back from Tommy John. So that's the other part of it is he, although 25 years old, is still kind of ramping up his innings.
An injury will knock you out for 2 years.
Exactly.
Almost,
so the Phillies do believe that he'll be a starter at the major league level at some point. It's just this is a good time for him to continue increasing, ramping up his innings, his velocity, his stuff, and to get back. But he does have I said he doesn't have the typical profile of someone who's in AA, but because of injuries and things, they are excited about what he has in stock for the future. So,
yeah.
Should be interesting.
Me and the girls have talked about getting up to Reading and catching a game before the end of the year, so maybe I'll try and make it a
We're
Seth
going to
Johnson
do it, guys. We're going to do it. We all are going to go.
Summer.
We got a road trip. I know this.
Piles. If it happened so fast.
I remember us saying like, this summer we're going to road trip out to everywhere. Jersey Shore, Reading.
Well, I was talking
anywhere.
to Jersey Shore as Justin Crawford got moved up. Because I was hoping we could sit down with Crawford and Miller at the same time again.
No.
So those plans got screwed up.
But it's the time just flies and the schedule gets so
Summer
busy.
flies, man.
And here we are already in August 1st. And
I know. All right. The other guy that came over in that deal was Moises Chace. Am I saying that right? Chace? I don't know. He's a high A pitcher, but he has Ace in his last name. as it is Chace. So you got to love that. Passes the name test right away. He is headed to Jersey Shore to high A there. He's a 6'1", 213-pound, 21-year-old. He is coming in as the Phillies' 25th prospect, so he automatically cracks the top 30. And him this year, 17 appearances, 52 innings pitched. Again, 0-6, not a pitcher stat. Who cares? 3.46 ERA with a OBA of 201, which is really impressive. His whip is 1.288, 76 Ks on the year, 2.53 Ks to walk ratio, and his scout grades come in with a 55 fastball, 50 slider, 40 control. So he's got a little bit of stuff, needs to work on his control. Again, a kind of a profile the Phillies like to prospect or to target. Give me some stuff with lack of control. We'll see if we can compile it together into a George Clausen type, So maybe they see that in him. His last 4 starts before leaving Aberdeen, let's see. He went 13 innings pitched. I'm trying to read the 6 earned runs, 1 home run allowed. Strikeouts, he had 22 across those 4 starts in the month of July. So he's going to join Jersey Shore. And Moisés Chace, welcome to the team.
Moises Alejandro Chace, Mac.
Is that his nickname, Mac?
Sure. I feel like that's a solid nickname.
You can't start it.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, that's how good it is. That's how good it is. You didn't even know if I created it or if they created it. So I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Right.
He definitely passes the name test, Moises Alejandro. But his time with the Ironbirds, as you mentioned, with that 3.81 ERA, he has shown for Dombrowski that he's got a great arm, as they said. He's another developing pitcher. 21. They said he's pitched well. They did see him pitch a couple of days against the Jersey Shore club and threw the ball very well. So he actually had a chance to kind of put his stuff on notice on debut against Jersey Shore. And he's pitched, they said, exceptionally well recently. As you mentioned, looking at his numbers as of recent, it is actually improving. So to see the trajectory that he's on as he's going to go to high A Jersey Shore, and Johnson goes to AA Reading, these are 2 guys that are moving in the right direction. I think that's for every single piece that the Phillies brought in, including Seth Johnson and Chace, every guy is moving in the right direction, progressing, getting better. Their numbers as of late this summer are better than how they started the season. And Moisés Alejandro, the 21-year-old righty out of Venezuela, is on the same path. So I'm excited to see what these 2 guys can bring because, right now you're not going to get too much in detail about who they are. We're going to get to learn more about them in due time. But so far, the numbers, the name test, it's backs it up.
He's got ace in his name. Tyler, I missed on the graphic. Did you have where Seth Johnson falls on the Phillies prospect list?
Yeah, they have him as 10th currently.
10th
at MLB.com. Chace is 25th.
Yeah. So 2 guys that crack your top 25 for Gregory Soto. Pretty impressive.